Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at how to make a mind map. I think you guys remember this, but I'll just go over it again. I'll just make my working space bigger so we have more real estate. So let's say I'm doing an exhibition about doors, series of doors. I'm going to put doors in the center. So I would do this by hand on a piece of paper. Doors. Okay. And then I would start writing association words that I have for doors. So let's say house, open, entry, welcome. So I'm kind of riffing off of these words. Welcome. So there's this idea of like open, like something that's outside, inside. So difference between something that's inside and outside. But also like it's an invitation kind of. So maybe welcome makes me think invitation. Doors, it could be like a portal to another galaxy. Portal. Kind of magic. Oops. I could think about, what they're made out of. Like, it could be like wood, and I don't know what doors are made out of. Often wood, right? And they can be kind of worn, old. I could think about, like, if my exhibition is about doors, I assume I'll have different ones. Some that are kind of gates, and so I could put gates. Some are probably these kind of refined, wiry things. I don't know. I could, history of doors. So maybe I would tell myself, I'm going to Google door. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go, and I'm going to go in Wikipedia. I'm typing it. I'll bring it over once I've found it. Door. And then dictionary. Sorry if there's background sounds. Door. So I Googled, I went onto the Merriam-Webster dictionary and I put door in, even though, I know what a door is. But actually, now that I'm trying to think more critically about it, I realize I might need more information. So swinging or sliding barrier by which an entry is closed and open. So it has a double function of closing, so keeping people out, and opening. So that's an interesting concept, right? So closing is also part of it. Shutting out. And there's also this idea of motion, right? Swinging. Motion. Where's my webpage? A means of access or participation, opportunity, opening new doors. Oh, that's an interesting. So like a metaphorical door. So I'll put that in. Opportunity. I'm also thinking about how like a door is human sized. So there's a scale kind of. Maybe my poster, I could have I could feel like a physical door for whatever reason. Doors, the designated time at which the doors at a performance venue are opened. Doors at 8. At one's door, as a charge against one as being responsible. Lay the blame at our door. Okay, so I could write all these things down. And then I can go over here on Wikipedia and read about doors. So questions of security, a wall, building, room, vehicle. So there's so many things. Like doors have an aesthetic, symbolic, ritualistic purpose. Ooh, the key. Interesting. So a door has a key. That's some of them don't, but that's an interesting idea I could potentially go with. Maybe my exhibition about doors, and I focus on the key because key automatically makes you think of door. So that can, be a kind of an unexpected approach. Doorbells, and here I have different examples of doors. So I could think also about the shape of the door. as that could be a guiding principle of like how my page is in the shape of a door. So I could have like an arch, so that could be, then I would go into, I'd keep doing this for a while until I kind of feel like I have a ton of ideas out there. Half door, blind door, French door. Oh, interesting. When were doors first invented? Why were they invented? Do doors have different significance in different places? Do doors, whatever. There's so many different things. How are doors made? You could think of all these aspects as being part of how you're going to come up with a design concept. Hollow door with one face removed. Look how cool that is. That'd be a cool design element. But I don't know if that's what I would want to use. But we know these design elements. So we could do also kind of like the design element. Window, doorknob. There are things we know are present on most doors. That eye hole thing that you peek at people, I don't know what that's called. Let's see. Can't remember what that's called, but I'll write it as eye hole. But, my poster, then I would go into sketching. So what I would do is keep going with this and potentially write more associations I have. But like, okay, I'm getting a few different options. I feel like open entry is an interesting one. So maybe I would also be doing this on a piece of paper. But I would kind of start thinking about my little poster here as my sketch. Give it a stroke. How would I show there's two different worlds, and this is the door is the place between the two of them. So maybe I start, my first idea is like I draw a line in the middle, and then I'd have one form of type that's like really one way, and another form of type that's different, and this thing is separating them. And then my secondary information would be like small things in here in my details. But, this is my first idea of how to do this idea of a portal or of like bringing in or out. I could have it be this way. I could have the entryway this way. I could have, what else could I think about that's kind of an unexpected way? I could have kind of like the door itself, the poster itself is the door and it's peeling open, and I'm kind of seeing a secondary layer behind. That's, this is another part of my something secret, something, exciting and miraculous is back here. And then my poster is, a door, whatever. But, you don't want to be too literal. Like, how could you do that without actually drawing a door, but thinking about the typography as doing that work. Then I could go and think about, the design of the door. Maybe I think about an arch or something. Like, it could be the design elements of the door. And maybe my whole poster, it has like, I could use the letter O as creating that eye hole. And then there's no type except at the tiny little at the bottom, and people are kind of want to go and peek inside. When they peek, they could see something written really small or something. So thinking about the actual design elements of the door could be a second direction, and then I could have, I don't know, a doorknob concept, and you could have, on a door often there's a number. Or a name of the person who lives there. So maybe you find, like, you look at how those numbers usually look. Maybe they're very kind of, my door has like something kind of like that. Actually, I don't remember what it looks like, but 2, 4, it's like something you would find that's kind of more ornate. But you could mimic that, and maybe you realize the doorknob is kind of not so exciting, but the numbers is more interesting, and that becomes like you have the date really large, or the name of something like that. Like, what is the information that's going to draw people in? That's kind of a funny way of having the concept of your exhibition. So that's one thing. You could look at the mailbox, or maybe not the mailbox, but what else is on a door. the hinges. The type could be in the hinges. It could be, thinking about things going in different directions. I can go back to my concept over here. I have two doors, some types all going this way, some types going this way, and for some reason they're interacting here in the middle, but maybe the white space is the door. I don't know. So I would kind of really quickly jot down ideas and then try them really quickly with my InDesign, with just like really basic, until I'm like, okay, I'm really excited about this concept and I'm gonna go and try that. And then with my door, I could also think about, maybe I want to set all my type in an arch, because that's a cool design element that my door has. So all my type would go like this. Speak friend and enter. If you guys are Lord of the Rings nerds. And then something like that. You could say, I'm going to cut off the sides of my poster. I don't know. So there's obviously all these different ways that you can pursue an idea through and start to create a visual version of the door, of your concept. So I'm just doing two here, but you could obviously do more. But you could think about, what are all there's a lot here that you could go with and start developing more and more ideas, and like concepts that come back. If you're doing this and you're expanding more out, and there's really something around magic and other worlds, but there's also something interesting about this kind of entry closing. There's also another world, like even if it's not magical. So these concepts that keep coming back maybe are a sign that that's an interesting angle. But yeah, I would, recommend thinking about really totally different things. Like maybe one is, so the conceptual one that's more about the shape of my object, whatever different things are making sense for you. But I think that, there's a human element with a door that's really interesting. Trying to think of another thing I could do. There's somebody looking through the door and seeing, I don't know, like it could be thinking typographically about creating a door in space, so I could have, all the type. I'm going to move this over here because I don't have anything on this one. All the type is creating a door, so all the type is around. So I have my information all around, and then the white space is really the central point. But I think the challenge here is to not draw things and not just have like, I'm going to just draw a door, but to use type as the element that is doing that. So use type to communicate rather than relying on visual like shapes. So that's the challenge with doing this typographically. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And definitely message me if you have questions about this or anything, or if you want to send me sketches. I'll be happy to look and tell you, great, you're doing great, or think about this idea, or whatever. But remember, like, don't think you already know. Just go and look, read. Allow yourself to be dumb about it, and it will open doors. Okay, on that note, I will close this video.